everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial from the 41st Millennium. And yes, we are here with the all-new Astra Militarum Armageddon Battalion box type thing. And as you can see, we've got 4 whole tanks here before you to view in this video today. We've got 3 new ones and 1 old one. So we have the old Rogal Dorn. It's not that old, but this is the Rogal Dorn. We have the Centaur. We have the 2 Hippogriffs from the new box. So these are all the new tanks, and they've all been primed in Mechanicus Standard Grey. But before we get into what we're going to be doing next, a massive thank you goes out to Games Workshop, who sent me these early to build up and paint with all of you, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. So we're going to be painting all 4 of these tanks up in this video, and well, as mentioned, they've been primed in Mechanicus Standard Grey. And the first colour that we're going to be using is some Zandri Dust. But we're not going to be using Zandri Dust from the pot. No, we're going to be using Zandri Dust from the rattle can. So we're going to be adding some more primer over the top of these guys. So we primed them in the Mechanicus Standard Grey, but what we want to do is we want to add that real classic sort of camo pattern that you see on some of the older guard tanks. And the reason we've done the Mechanicus Standard Grey first rather than a green is because back in whenever it was that we did the last Rogal Dorn, we actually did that with Mechanicus Standard Grey. So this is an evolution of that previous video. If you want to be able to do that previous video, that one absolutely still stands for all of these tanks. But for these ones, what I want to do is get sort of more that classic look, so that sort of dark green and bone. So what we need to do is we need to get some sticky tack. I've got some Blu Tack here that I've used in the past to do this kind of thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to apply this over the top of 3 of the tanks in order to give us that camo pattern before we apply our Zandri Dust spray. So I'm just going to smooth this out and make it sort of a little bit fatter, so we've got a little bit more to play with. And keeping the tank turrets straight on like that, what we want to do is we're going to apply these kinds of sort of layers of this Blu Tack over the top of the model, just like that sort of thing. Nice and easy. What we can do is we can obviously widen this out a little bit if we want to, or we can sort of make it a little bit narrower, that sort of thing. We're just going to apply this like so. Keep it pretty simple here, because when we're going to add our Zandri Dust spray over the top, it'll leave the Mechanicus Standard Grey underneath, and it'll give us a nice bone colour to contrast with the Mechanicus Standard Grey. So I'm going to do this across all of the tanks. Yeah, we'll just leave that for now. We're going to put this one, maybe add a little bit more sticky tack to that. Make it nice and big and wide and flat. Attach that like so. Looking good. And just a little bit more around this corner here. There we go. Put a little bit in there. So Zandri Dust all applied. It's time for the moment of truth. So there you have it. There we got our lovely camo patterns across our Rogal Dorn and our Hippogriffs. And for the Centaur, we didn't do it because, according to the box art, it's all green. Doesn't deserving of camo, apparently. So there we go. And that's what that looks like with the 2 primers applied. So what we're going to have to do now is mix up some paint, and then we're going to actually get started on the painting. So in the past, what we did first is we took a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Contrast Medium and Dark Angels Green. However, this time around, we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lahmian Medium and Dark Angels Green. And we're going to apply this over the top of all the areas we want to be, well, green. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this roughly, well, we're going to take this in sections at a time. And we're going to be applying this over the top of all of the Mechanicus Standard Grey. So we're just going to start back here. Just like that sort of thing. And then we turn the corner and we do all of this panel down here. Now some of you will remember at the top of last year we actually did a bit of editing to Arcadians in terms of the colour scheme. And one of the big things with that was changing the colour of the green. So don't worry if this is a little bit too patchy in some places. We will be able to fix it later on. And one thing I think I've forgotten to mention throughout the video so far is that on the underside we just primed it with some Chaos Black. So lots of different primers being used here, but that was because we're generally not going to see the underside of the vehicle very often. So all that Dark Angels Green applied, as you can see, it's looking pretty good. However, before we go on and do some correcting, because we've got a bit of patchiness and a little bit of dark spots, for example, on our Centaur. You can see just kind of here at the bottom of this door. It's not the end of the world. It's actually a pretty nice effect, really. But before we do any correcting, we are just going to get the rest of the kind of tank armor and these colors kind of down pat. So what we're going to do next, this is quite a sort of old traditional thing. You used to see this a lot on like the old Catachan schemes. Is we're going to take some Black Legion and over the top of the kind of edges of all of that camo, we're just going to apply this. Between the Zandri Dust and the Dark Angels Green. So with that all done, we now take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lahmian Medium and Agrax Earthshade, and we apply this over the top of the Zandri Dust areas, and we also just want to catch that Black Legion to really make it stand out. You can see when you do that, it really pulls it out. So with that Agrax Earthshade all applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Zandri Dust, and we're going to do a really heavy dry brush of this in a circular motion over the top of our Zandri Dust sections. And then similarly for all of our green, what we're going to do is we're going to, in a circular motion, dry brush some Vulkan Green over the top. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Straken Green, and we're going to use this to now do a sort of edge highlight dry brush of all the green. And with that Straken Green dry brush all applied, we're then going to dry brush the Zandri Dust bone areas with some Ushabti Bone. So with that all done, we've actually conquered a huge amount of the video so far. So the next big task that we're going to undertake is the black details. Now the black details is actually going to include a couple of metallic ones as well. So for example, over here on the Rogal Dorn, we're going to be applying black over the top of the tracks. But for these hippogriffs, we're also going to be applying this over the top of the wheels. And for this guy, we're also going to be applying this over the top of that tracks and wheels and things like the gun casings and stuff like that as well. So we're just going to get started here. We'll start over here on the Centaur. So and grab our Black Legion. I'm going to apply this over the top of the wheels and over the top of the tracks. So with all that Black Legion applied, what we're going to do next is we're just going to very quickly take some Zandri Dust and we're going to apply this over top of the soft cover on the Centaur. You're probably going to need 2 thin coats here, but that's okay. And whilst we wait for our first coat of Zandri Dust to fully dry, what we're going to do is we're going to start work on the metallics. Well, the colour we're going to be using is some thinned down Iron Warriors, and we're going to be applying this over the vast majority of all of our metallic details. So our metallic details are going to be things like these gun barrels, but there's also going to be things like the ports and the lights and the lamps and the viewing windows. And don't worry about doing the tracks and the wheels. You're going for a really heavy metallic there. Whilst we're on the subject of doing silver, what we're going to do next is we're going to take some Leadbelcher and we're going to dry brush this over the top of what we're going to call our heavy metallics. And our heavy metallics are going to be things like the treads on the Rogal Dorn and the sort of the metallic parts of the wheels and sort of chassis and things like that. It's a pretty heavy dry brush. But it's very effective. And with that Leadbelcher dry brush all applied, we're going to do another dry brush of some Steel Legion Drab, and we're going to do this over the top of the tyres. And so with that all done, we're now going to take some thinned down Castellax Bronze and we're going to apply this over top of these sort of engine blocks and exhaust pipes like so. But what we're also going to do with the Castellax Bronze is we are going to apply this over top of the bullets that are in the magazines of our heavy stubbers. So with that all done, we're now going to try and reduce the amount of metallics that we actually need to shade, because there isn't a huge amount, but for the sake of making it make sense in the video, we're going to do the gems and lenses next. So we're going to start off with some Frostheart, and we're going to apply this over top of any viewing windows. And so with that all done, we then take some Blood Angels Red and we apply this over top of any lenses. And we're also going to apply this inside any headlights as well. With that all done, we're now going to take some Agrax Earthshade. And we're going to use this to shade the Zandri Dust of the cover up here. We're going to use this to shade the Castellax Bronze areas. And we're also going to use this to add just a little bit of a sort of blended shade to the barrels of all of our big cannons. So, there's our Agrax Earthshade on the cover there. So on the big cannons, what we're going to do is we're going to take the Agrax Earthshade, and towards the base of them, we're just going to apply some Agrax Earthshade, like so. Then we're going to wash the brush, get rid of the water, and then we're just going to blend it off. Like so. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Nuln Oil. And we're going to apply this over top of any textured silver that we've kind of not done anything with since we applied the Iron Warriors over the top of. And what I mean by textured silver is we're not going to apply this over the top of anything that just doesn't have any recesses. So we're just going to apply this like so over the top of the heavy stubber. We're going to apply this over top of these aquillas scattered around the models. But the other thing we are going to do here is we're going to apply this over top of any of our remaining black details that we haven't done anything with either. So it's going to be things like these parts of the barrels. So with that all done, we've got 3 things left to do. One of which is to take some thinned down Ushabti Bone. I'm going to use this to do a highlight on, well, it's more of a relayer really, on this guy. So with that cover all relayered, we're now going to take some thinned down Dawnstone. I'm going to use this to highlight our black details. And so with that all done, the final thing we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Ironbreaker. And we're going to use this to highlight just a few key silver areas. So we're going to highlight, for example, the ends of the barrels of all of our weapons. Like that. And we're also going to use this to highlight the aquillas. And there we have it, all done. Really, actually pretty quick. If I wasn't doing 4 at once, doing 1 at a time actually didn't feel like it was going to take too much effort and time to actually do. I have, of course, put some decals on there as well, sort of usual way, you know, microsol and microset, that kind of thing. But it's looking really good. I'm really pleased with the scheme and how it's come out, and it feels proper army. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.